Hey, what's good? This video is going to be about how I'd build a 3 to 12 month book pipeline for Remodelers 2025 version. And it is for one type of business. If you're a remodeler doing 5 to 40 million a year and you want cruise consistently busy, a predictable 3 to 12 month pipeline, marketing engine that you can eventually separate from operations, and honestly just a business that you can sell at 5 to 8x multiples later, then this is for you. And we don't want to end up like Lenovo Home. A little bit about me too, just so you get some context. Right? I've built predictable client acquisition systems across a few high-ticket industries. If you scroll down this channel, you'll see older videos from when I worked with hair loss clinics. Right? It's the same principles, just a different vertical. And now I'm bringing everything I've learned into remodeling, what's broken, what operators need to focus on, and the insights that I've picked up consulting multi-seven-figure companies. If this is you and you're interested in the video, let's think in 6 to 36 month timelines. Like for this channel and this video too, let's think in a longer term horizon because that's when you can actually create real systems, real stability, real growth, and create greater differences in your business and make sure that we're going on the right trajectory. Overnight, I mean, if you're looking for some form of overnight fix, that's probably not what you're going to get over here. Neither am I going to make you an overnight millionaire. Now, the average remodeler in 2025 is somebody like this, right? Like you do great work, you're family owned, you have a strong reputation, you've put years into the craft, you get solid referrals and Google traffic, but you wanted more. That's why you tried agencies and lead vendors. And usually it just ends up like this. You burn through 50 plus agencies. And this I've seen for even people who have good results, right? Even if they're doing a few million a year, it's just this is how the industry is. You burn through 50 plus agencies, you have several vendors at the same time, you have tons of leads, almost no real appointments. You've wasted time on flaky inquiries, not just your own time, but even your team's time, which ends up adding an additional loss when it comes to the amount of revenue that you're supposed to be making. Not to mention costs creeping up, appointment setters booking calls that you can't close, agencies working with your competitors the second that you leave. Basically, just not the type of business that it really should be. And what are the real problems underneath, right? Nobody talked about your goals, bottlenecks, or capacity. Right now, you have two Google guys, three Meta guys, an SEO guy. There's no proper alignment. Marketing and sales is barely communicated. There's no forecasting or demand planning, slow pivots when campaigns dip. There's weak tracking, no idea what actually is making money, and winter volatility is hitting you every single year. That's one. If that sounds familiar, that's all right. Let's just fix this. It's about taking back control of your pipeline. First, let's just reverse engineer the goal. Because this type of process, even though the fundamentals apply to different businesses, we want to make sure that we're actually doing something that you want in the first place. Like just more leads can can be something that's not the solution, right? If your goal is, let's just say, to increase revenue by 150 to 400K a month, it's not crazy, it's quite doable at your scale. We want to see what will actually take that. If we're doing just kitchens, right, your average job might be 25 to 100K, a high end average depends on the quality of materials you're using, the type of people you're targeting to, your average customer also. But let's just say your high end average is about 65K. We'd basically need about 2 to 6 extra kitchens a month. And if we're doing bathrooms with average at around 35K, we need about 4 to 12 extra baths. Now, you likely, if you're watching this, you might be doing both. If you're mixed, then you just need 3 to 7 extra jobs a month. And that is what will help us get to this initial goal of 150 to 400K a month in revenue. The lead cost reality. I just want to make sure we're on the same page with this. It isn't cheap and it shouldn't be either. With Google, you're going to get it at 300 to 450 a lead. Meta will be 80 to 120. So what's our required marketing budget, right? We want to spend at least 5 to 18K a month in marketing spend. It usually comes out to 3 to 8%. It's healthy and it's honestly what you should expect if you're not already spending it yet. And if you are spending this type of money and you're not sure why it's not bringing you those type of returns, I'll go over that in a second. How do we actually build a pipeline, right, for 3 to 12 months? First of all, we want to go about making sure that our lead quality is actually on point, right? Don't like even forget the fact that we want to make sure that your time is correctly utilized. If lead quality sucks, like nothing else matters, right? You're going to be wasting time talking to the wrong inquiries, and you're going to be basically scraping the bottom of the barrel if you don't have the right processes in place to actually bring in a proper lead quality. And at the very least, you want to make sure that they're qualified. You have timeline filters on, budget filters on, and there's proper intent signals whenever you're actually getting in a lead. That means that whenever you're getting in an inquiry, a lot of marketers, what they do these days is that they just run lead forms, and you get basically the worst leads, especially if they're autofill. Um, it basically brings in people who don't even fill in their information directly. So you're going to be getting terrible, terrible leads. At the very least, if you're running a landing page, you want to ask them a few questions. That's what we generally do. We have surveys on, we ask them at least 7 to 10 questions. This way, you actually get a deeper understanding on their budget, on whether they understand this service that you're providing, whether they actually live in a serviceable area too, and a few other questions that matter. Beyond that, if you have a system right now that you're using to bring in clients, you want congruency across the whole system. Now, what does that mean, right? Having five disconnected pieces tends to be a big issue. Like if you have somebody who's doing Google for you, three people over there, two people with Meta, another person handling your SEO, you will not have congruency across the entire system. With Google Meta retargeting, you want to make sure that it is linked to your CRM, that your sales team is also congruent with it, that your follow ups and reporting are fine together. I'll give you an example of why this might be an issue. Let's just say that you have three channels on right now. You're using Google, you're using Meta, and you're using SEO. Obviously, only Google and Meta are trackable, but with these three different channels that you're paying money to actually bring in clients from, if you don't have congruency and proper tracking, you're not going to know where to actually invest. Neither will you know what is bringing you the highest amount of ROI and what's actually worth your time. Beyond that, it's important to actually adjust when things break. Campaign dips, lead quality shifts, sales slowdown, creative fatigues, Google CPC spikes. Like if you don't react within 72 to 120 hours, basically 3 to 5 days, you're going to be bleeding opportunities. And most agencies wait 3 to 6 weeks. That's why your pipeline looks chaotic. That's why things go up and down much more than it should. And that's why your fluctuations are not normal meta fluctuations, but greater ones because you're continuously switching agencies. The agencies that you have don't give enough attention, neither do they actually make it a predictable process for you. And that's basically the whole game. Quality to congruency to fast pivots. Now, you might be wondering that's all fine and dandy, Angad, but what do you do that's different, right? That's the question. First of all, this is the most important thing. We want to actually diagnose the bottleneck, right? Like that's why I have discovery sessions with the clients before we even start, because where is revenue leaking? Like what is the issue right now? Is it lead? Is it quality? Is it booking? Is it show rate? Is it closing? Is it seasonality? If you just think that more leads are your solution, you're likely to be wrong, because a lot of the times they can be a band-aid on a leaky bucket. I'll give you a real world example. If your show rate is terrible, like at 20%. That's a big issue. Getting more leads is not going to be the highest leverage action that you can make and the thing that you should fix first. Don't get me wrong, if you have the capacity to grow, leads are a solution. You want more qualified leads, basically qualified design appointments, and then more bookings, which is something great. But if you have issues simultaneously with your show rate, with your closing, then you will be not getting the highest ROI that you can, and you'll be honestly wasting money because you're not fixing the more important problem first and then focusing on getting in more leads. That's why diagnosing the bottlenecks are quite important. Beyond that, we want to align everything into one plan, right? Like Google is great for demand capture, Meta is great for demand creation, retargeting is good because people tend to apply, inquire, and book once they're actually familiar with you. That's why retargeting helps with that. And qualification to actually filter out noise so we don't waste time. We want to also make sure our operations and sales are synced, so the back end actually closes. There's no point in getting in leads when nobody's there to actually take care of more appointments. And the big picture is attribution, right? Like if you have new revenue that isn't directly tracked, it gets claimed by different parties. Even if another channel created the demand, like you need the proper full view, and you need to be able to see what's actually bringing in the most money consistently over a longer time horizon, so you can actually allocate more resources over there. We want to build a 3 to 12 month rolling forecast, right? Like this is where the real control is going to kick in. You want to know your demand, have a pipeline that's regularly reactivated to, and fill gaps before they become problems. Does this mean that you'll be able to predict the future 100%? No, but we want to make sure that we take actions that are preventive in nature. So if you know that around winter time, regardless of the fact that you're extremely experienced, it gets slower, we want to still have contingencies in place so that we can keep your crews busy. There are a few ways to do this. One is just make sure that we still have ads on. We adjust the budget accordingly. We adjust the leads that we get in accordingly. Second is that you can give people incentives to come in the winter season. Third is something like a reactivation, where you have a pipeline of, let's just say, a few thousand leads who've inquired with you. You can keep them updated with high quality messages, basically follow ups, but it'll be more about value being presented to them regularly, that you can get more clients from that lead list, from that lead database. That is another method that you can use to basically fill in gaps before they become serious problems. We want to produce stability and not spikes, right? Like the goal here is not going to be random good months, it's predictable revenue. And yes, variables happen, but that is why, as I said, you want to have contingencies ready. As much as we can, we want to have stability in the business, because that is where you're actually able to work on the business and make real growth. Last thing is fixing problems before they hit the revenue, right? Like looking numbers every month or two is too slow. I'm not saying that you shouldn't look at the quarterly view or that you shouldn't ignore that business is a bit volatile. But like when it comes to ads, for example, if you're not looking at it every 3 to 7 days and actually adjusting in real time, you're going to be losing out on opportunities. You're going to be losing out on money, and obviously this depends on the spend, on your KPIs, and you should be patient. But there is a fine balance that then needs to be met, where you actually need to give it enough attention and focus. I've seen that across smaller businesses, medium businesses, even larger ones doing multi seven and beyond. That's basically the high level plan that I'll go deep into over the next few videos. If you're a remodeler in the 5 million to 40 million a year range, your goals are cruise busy, pipeline predictable, and long term growth, and eventually a business that you can exit at 5 to 8 multiples, then this is the channel for you. I'm going to break down real audits, real numbers, and real systems, and I'm analyzing right now what's smart, what's flawed, and how exactly I would improve the bottlenecks so that your entire pipeline runs smoother over the next 12 to 36 months. Thanks. If you want me to cover any specific topics, feel free to comment down below, or you can just text me. You can actually just book a call to down in the description, or you can text me on Facebook. I'll keep the link over there. Thanks.